And yes, we are back here once again for the next podcast for Big Brother 28. This is, of course, week 3. And listen, last week I was saying that, like, I was feeling like things were still really exciting, that like people were worried that this wasn't going to be a complete and utter steamroll and things like that. But safe to say, I don't know if I necessarily feel that way anymore. But we'll go ahead and get into that because it's definitely not my favorite week to talk about. But anyways, I do want to start off introducing both of my guests. I don't just have one, I got 2 guests here. I wanted to start with the one who has not been on this channel before, someone who reached out to me personally. I talked about, how I was doing Big Brother podcast and I would love to have guests on. And this person reached out and said, hey, I would love to be on. I was like, hell yeah, I love getting new people on here that I haven't had on my channel before, kind of see different perspectives, all that kind of stuff. It's always a great time. Very excited to have this person on. Here is Joanne.
Hi, thanks for having me, Kevin.
What's going on?
Good to be here.
Yes, should be a very, very fun time. But you are not my only guest here because there's been one consistency throughout all of these podcasts, as you have seen, and that is that there's a certain house guest that someone in my chat has potentially been simping and has become a really big fan of, and there's one promise that this individual had, that if this person were to win a comp or had something big in an episode, that I just had to have them on. And no other reason, just had to have them on. No ifs, ands, or buts whatsoever. And so, unfortunately, I obliged. Here is Kelly Jorgensen. Oh, shit. Oh, wait, no, it's just Mike.
Is that the crown?
Wow, that was great.
I do have a crown. I just couldn't find it.
Oh, well, good job.
But I also have headphones on, so.
Yeah, Mike, how are you doing? Got it. Mike is doing my signature pose in most Orgcast photos.
We'll get into it later, but we're kind of probably the only person ecstatic about what just happened.
Yeah, we'll get into everything. Before we do start off talking about this week in particular, I'm going to ask both of you the same thing I have to every single guest. I'll start off with Joanne here. Joanne, give me your initial excitement going into the season, and then how the season has delivered for you so far.
I think seeing the cast reveal, there's definitely a lot of big characters, a lot of big personalities. It did seem like in the intro videos, there were almost everyone seemed very cutthroat, or they were going to play really hard. And I think as the season started, I'm not sure if everyone has lived up to their the way that they said they were going to come into the house. People like Taylor, I don't know, the way her intro video, I was like, oh, she seems really impressive, but she's kind of laid really low so far. Even Lala too is always talking big and then just has kind of been laying low. So I think the personalities have been fun, something that maybe has been missing from some recent seasons of Big Brother, but definitely an interesting cast, pretty diverse in some of the personalities. And yeah, just curious to see how it continues to evolve.
Yes. Well, Kelly, we know how I felt about you on your season. But how are you feeling about the fact that, now you're home and you get to watch a season now after having played?
It's an honor to be called a certain name I didn't think I'd be hearing again. I'm just kidding.
Got to redeem it somehow.
Just say
no. Question.
I'm so confused.
Don't worry about
it. Just go with it.
No. This season's been interesting. I can't say my personal rankings have changed all that much. Then again, there's one person who stayed number 1 all season. It's only week 4.
I wonder who it is.
It's definitely Haley. This is the biggest Haley fan. You love the fact that Haley is always saying a bunch of microaggressive shit and is always like going off on the POCs and things like that.
Yeah, this is who I'm rooting for the most.
Exactly. But no, in all seriousness,
actually, let it be known, and we'll again, it's kind of spoilery. We'll obviously touch on it later, but my original winner pick just left. Funny enough, but since the feeds have begun, I have changed things around a little bit. A lot, I had hopes for the Vets, but I don't know how I feel. I think just the fact that they've been steamrolling so far.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll just get into it now. So like I was saying last week, I feel like I was still holding out a lot of hope compared to a lot of people. I saw people even as early as week 1 say this is just going to be a steamroll. Like the Vets are just going to win everything, and you're going to get tired of them real fast. And like you might be a fan of D, Angela, and Devens now, but by the time week 4 rolls around, you're going to be sick of them. And I was the guy saying, I think it's actually going to be okay. I think that there's enough cracks in the foundation that I think this could still be a lot of fun. Angela's going to do something crazy. So you have that going for you. I think D is going to, D and Devens are going to be really great players. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. I really was holding out hope that we would get to see some kind of a shakeup. Unfortunately, 3 weeks in, my hope is very much dwindling at this point. I am not confident at this point that this is going to be that good of a season moving forward. In fact, there are points of this week where I'm like, do I even want to necessarily continue watching? Obviously, I've made a commitment to podcasting, and I'm going to do so because of that. But there is a lot that happens this week that I am very much not a fan of and very much does worry me heading into the rest of the season. But we'll just go ahead and get into it. I will say
I was this close to checking out.
Yeah. No,
really?
I can't imagine why that would be. I don't know. Why would you want to check out this early when you're such a big fan of Chuk, who is safe I wonder what could have potentially caused.
Hey, we discussed that meme about someone else. Not too much on me.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna
Can I say something about what you just said?
Yeah.
I think the way that they set the season up with the survivor or the icons only being able to win HOH, and then now the power fueled by America's vote, it's they kind of set it up to be that way, and for them to kind of steamroll the season, so to speak, or at least it heavily influences how the season will play out.
Exactly.
And I was a little bummed when I heard that they would be this would be part of the season, and especially the HOH thing, the first week. I was like, that completely changes everything.
Yeah, I do think 3 weeks in, the decision to let those 3 compete in the HOH is so much more egregious than I think we even thought of at the time. It has set them up in a way that nobody else really has. They've been able to create a structure that just wasn't naturally set up. It just had to happen because they were the ones that empower, so they benefited through it the most. You have D, who was the week 1 HOH, and so she's still kind of reaping the benefits through that, and Devens reaps all the benefits as well. It really does affect a lot of different things. And I think that if they had scaled back on that, as well as, and I've said this so many times, I feel like throughout the past 2 weeks on this podcast, if they had waited to give out these time capsule powers to the point, when we're able to establish the new players and actually have a chance to get to know them, I feel like this whole season would be drastically different. But unfortunately, that's not what's happening, and I think we're really seeing the effect of that pretty quickly.
I think Devon's getting that power vetoes a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially this early for how long he has it for. And I've been a Devens fan since the beginning of Edge.
Yeah, no, I guess I'll weigh in on that right now. The whole power scale is completely ridiculous here with the way that they designed it, especially because, and I mean, I did take notes on Unlocked a little bit because I feel like Unlocked is becoming a bit more important, which we'll talk about. But I will bring up the powers real quick. If you just cycle through the powers here, you have like the replay power, you have obviously the Dime Power Veto, Coin of Destiny, BB Bribe, but then a never not pass. Oh wow, what's going on there? Well, who is this designed for? Oh, the person who is not.
They're gonna give that to the first doobie that gets in that thing.
Exactly, like not one of the vets. So we have something conveniently here that like, somebody like a Jason can win it, and they're just not going to have any opportunity to do anything. And look, I don't like to say that, the show is rigged and things like that, but it very much does feel like they wanted to tip the scales in the vets' favors as much as they possibly could. They knew that this was the time they were going to get D and Devens. They wanted to make sure they were there for the long haul, and this was the way they decided to design it. And
I do want to play devil's advocate here really quick.
Yeah.
We're used to orgs where, like, that's obviously bullshit, and we care more about the game than we do the actual game itself than the show. Yeah. But, like, I feel like at the end of the day, it's still a TV show. They know these veterans are going to be their ratings grab.
Oh, yeah.
So at the end, it makes sense. I'm not saying I agree with it. I still think it's ridiculous.
Right, but like, let's look at Rachel last season where, like, she comes in all on her own. They don't really give her much of anything. They give her that 1 week of safety, but then she has to do all of it on her own and create all these different social bonds. And that's just fundamentally more interesting than what we're seeing here, where immediately, again, they're just thrown into, in a great position because of the way the game was designed. It just really shows how much game design can affect your entire season for the worse. And I think already is taking a very negative effect.
Right. I was having the same thought, like, if they all started clean slate, you don't know who could be like the top dog of the season right now. Exactly. It probably wouldn't be who it is right now. And but I mean, they're definitely capitalizing on the fact that Survivor 50 happened this year. For sure. And for the show itself, like for Big Brother, I'm sure overall it's like a win to, bring people.
Oh yeah, they're like crushing ratings in a way they haven't in a while.
So like Mike said, I get it. I just hope next season is no returning players from anywhere. I want a fresh cast.
Yeah, especially because, I mean, like, even 27, like, Rachel was a returnee, but she fit right in with the group because of, like, the way they designed the game. So, I don't know. Anyways, enough of ranting. Let's just get into it here. Like I said, I do want to talk a little bit about the Unlocked episode, because Unlocked is actually becoming a pretty important part of the show. I kind of wasn't talking about it as much because last season it was like, we have some important stuff, but then we're like cutting back to like Taylor and Derek and kind of just talking about whatever, where like it does feel like now they are actually trying to make it like a vital part of the show. There's a lot of things they show here that like they otherwise wouldn't have shown, and it does actually play a pretty crucial role into things. So the one thing immediately that you see, I mean, starting off the episode, like you see Rome's like eviction right away and the whole fallout that went on. Like you can tell they want this to feel like a regular episode. And why are we saluting?
Because Rome dead.
Oh, okay. But we want this to feel like a regular episode like that. And I thought they did. Again, they're doing a much better job at just structuring that show overall. I mean, when it comes to, what we see with, like, for example, Drew and Kamu's final two with the handyman, this is something that is important. Like, this is something that is definitely playing a big role into the week, because otherwise we don't get to really understand like Drew's influence and why Kamu cares so much about his decision, to where Drew's actually able to like change his nominations a bit, whether it's like Taylor and Angela and or not Taylor and Angela, Dee and Angela creating this alliance with Lala and Taylor, and kind of understanding why Angela wants to keep Lala as badly as she does. Again, these are things that like context is very important. And so many times on Big Brother, it just gets stripped away and we get such a like small version of what we end up getting. It's like kind of like the Cliff Notes version of everything that happened this week. By implementing this stuff on Unlocked, it really only does do wonders for the show. In fact, to be honest with you, I was saying this on Twitter, I think this is probably the best edited I've seen the show in a while, because it really does feel like nothing is really getting left out. They are telling the story in a very effective way. And I feel like it's moments like this that really do help elevate the overall story to the point where you can actually, like, people are getting correct edits, stories are being told correctly. The fact that Facebook hates Kamu, like, that tells you everything right now. So, like, again, like, they are definitely, they know what they're doing. They're telling the story correctly. I think Unlocked is a win. I know a lot of people like to dog on it because it's taking away from the feeds and things like that, but I feel like they've really, like, understood what they're doing. And I think overall the show has turned out to be a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the last episode definitely seemed more juicy. So, and it seemed like I was a bit surprised, like, oh, I feel like they're giving me something that I would have missed if I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, with everything with Big Brother, it's one of the biggest things from Survivor is that it's lasts so much longer, and I feel like you can't. It's hard to predict things so early on, and things can change so much in Big Brother, and I think that even includes Unlocked. So it'll be interesting to see how it continues to, like, evolve throughout the season.
Yeah, especially because, I mean, they're always, like, taking feedback from fans. I've noticed that, like, as the show has gone on. The fact that that Rahap gets a shout-out in this episode is, like, insane to me.
But like a full name drop for Rob Sesternino and Taryn Armstrong.
Yeah, they show Rob Sesternino. They shout out Taryn. Like, this is like, it feels otherworldly that this stuff is happening.
Good. They show the tweets. Like, they showed the tweets after the commercial breaks. I feel like whoever's in charge of it is realizing, like, okay, it's not that people don't want to see more of Big Brother. It's just the nature of it is changing with social media and YouTube, and they're trying to catch up, I feel like, and kind of take the power back into their own hands. So they're trying to navigate how to do that. I feel like
they even the segment even the segment you get of, like, Jason's, like, drag friends in the episode, it provides a layer into who Jason is in the game, where it's like, yes,
what's their names? If you know, you know. What's their names?
Oh yeah. It provides a role. It provides, like, nuance to Jason that you just otherwise wouldn't see because of the fact that, like, the show just isn't able to really showcase it. But here, like, you're able to see, like, okay, yeah, Jason is being genuine with the fact that, like, his mother died, but he also sees, like, the entertainment value and all. And it really gets you to just see Jason in a much more three-dimensional way. I feel like often the Big Brother edit, it's very, like, one-dimensional. Again, I feel like something like Unlocked, even, like, these bite-sized clips, it brings layers to these people and shows who they really are in a way that makes it much easier, I think, for casual audiences to root for them in a way that we just don't normally get to see. So again, just really good stuff.
We used to get these type of clips in eviction episodes and like 5-10 minutes tops.
Yeah.
I like that we have Unlocked now, that they're touching base on things that I feel like are missing from the eviction episodes in today's day.
Yeah, agreed. Now, if only we can get the live interviews they used to do with the HOH, that would be gold. We need to see
not those.
Not this week, but, you know, a subsequent weeks. I would love to see that, because that would be a lot of fun. But anyway, let's get into the actual episode here, because, like I said, I did want to quickly bring up Unlocked. So Lyric makes it clear that she did not vote for Melody. She makes it clear from the beginning that, like, I was not the vote there. Someone was trying to pin it on me. And Angela's really feeling thrilled with how well the week went. We see that Barrett's feeling like he's kind of at the bottom of the alliance, and that as such, things kind of need to be solidified with Drew. Drew also does not actually plan to win the week's HOH to get blood off his hands, and we'll see in a little bit that probably is not the grace decision for him. We see that Melody and Mallory are kind of wary about Jason. They feel like he's playing both sides, and he comes in and they divert the conversation to him winning the blockbuster. And we see that Mallory is basically just becoming us in this moment, where like she is just so increasingly frustrated how the vets have been winning Disneyland and really wants to win HOH. And fellow Mallory stan, I'll let you weigh in on how you felt Mallory did this week.
It was a rough week in Flavor Town, let me tell you.
That it was. But speaking of flavors, we see Angela's egg punishment has officially ended, and she like rips it to shreds, and it was quite the moment. She no longer has to be in the egg costume, and it's far less likable as a result, in my opinion.
No, because like last season, I thought the egg costume with Vince was so good, and I feel like to bring that back, the right person definitely got it.
Yeah, they couldn't have possibly picked a better person for it. But so yeah, the HOH comp then goes down. It involves them having to pay attention to a wrestling match. There's this kind of a funny moment with Drew where he talks. Wait, what?
Why did they name it WrestleGasm? I was like, what the hell?
So people will tweet about it. Why else? You know, so people will be like, you remember where you were for the WrestleGasm.
Yeah. Anyways,
you don't want to know.
Listen, Big Brother is no stranger to weird names. I always think about Big Brother 25 with like Gookopolis or whatever. That's one immediately I think of. That's like
it's the verse, the other verse.
Right, they're known for the Nether region. That was another one.
Oh yeah,
like yeah, they love their names that you question, and this is very much one of them. We do get this moment with Drew that I thought was kind of funny, where basically he talks about how he was confused by the continuity of Jesse being in 1985, but thinks that it may be his dad because otherwise it doesn't make sense. Yeah, the big thing here, obviously, is that Mr. Spectacular is back. Didn't do anything with the comp other than he was just here. I thought he was going to host it. That's not what happens. He's just here. But ultimately, it comes down to Lyric, Mallory. I don't know who Yashi is. Yash, Barrett. I wrote Yashi, but I meant Yash. Yash, Barrett, and Kamu. And they get a few questions wrong here. Kamu's the one who is the new HOH. Let me just say, you know, I'm somebody that likes to wait until the feeds come back to like see who won, and I usually get really excited and things like that. And I usually feel the need to like watch a little bit, you know, see how maybe the week's going to play out. I went on the feeds, I went on Twitter. The second I saw Kamu won HOH, I was like, that's good for me. Like we like literally
it's good for you.
That's good for me. Like we can like I'm good to just like not pay attention to what's going on, wipe the slate clean. I was not happy to see this result at all. I knew exactly what this week was going to be. And it's exactly what I feared that it was going to be. But what was your guys' reactions to seeing Kamu won HOH? Yeah,
very much that. Yeah, definitely. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, of all the people,
especially with just the tool shed like still being in power.
Yeah.
I think that was. I mean, aside from not liking Kamu and not wanting him specifically, that was the next thought. Is like, I want to see like someone else outside of the tool shed win, or like at least someone more in the middle, like Drew or Barrett.
Kamu was one of the worst people in that alliance to win it too, because like even if like let's say Angela won it, Angela was probably going to put up Drew, and that would have at least made for an entertaining week. Instead, you have Kamu, who is like so dead set on what he wants to do, and it just kind of results in the outcome that you kind of suspect, unfortunately. Yeah, so we'll talk a bit about Kamu's HOH here and what he chooses to do. We see that he talks to Toolshed immediately. He's thinking Mallory and Jason should be noms. He feels that Mallory knows the game really well, and if she wins HOH, she's going to take really big shots, which we know she's going to. She's mentioned as she's said as such, so as it pains me to say, it is actually a good move for Kamu. Yeah. Like, I think these are unfortunately solid nominations. But Angela and Dee want to take a bit of a bigger swing here. Specifically, Angela wants to take a bigger swing here because what were we going to say, Mike?
Hear me out on that. I don't care.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't care about much things about how Kamu thinks either.
No, I don't. But, I don't care how good of a move it is for him to put Mallory up. Don't do it.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, Angela and Dee talk. They're kind of happy they didn't have to get their hands dirty, but Angela really wants to see, like, is there a possibility that we could get Drew on the block? Because she's very convinced that Drew is the one who threw his vote to kind of stir up trouble. Dee doesn't feel that he can leave now, but that he's going to have to go soon. They think about potentially backdooring him, but with Kamu as HOH, then they have to table that for now. Now, what they don't show on the episode is that this actually went a little bit further. There was actually a push to potentially put Drew on the block, but Devens kind of like shut it down and told Angela that like
feeds her back.
I know, but they didn't play HOH yet, so it doesn't matter.
Show the fire.
But yeah, there was a potential shot to, like, you know, get Drew on the block. Devens kind of shut it down and was like, I think we're going about this the wrong way. I think we need to just kind of like wait things out with him. Joanne, I want to hear your thoughts on this, because I've heard people who are I've heard varying opinions. Some people feel like Angela and Dee are doing the right thing in targeting Drew. Others are saying maybe they should wait a bit. What's your perspective on this whole Drew thing?
I feel like that's one of the big things that has sort of changed for me this week. In the beginning of the week, like you said, I would have said the same thing, like that Devens was saying, like, that's too soon.
Right.
You have this like pretty strong alliance that's doing well. But then at the end of tonight's episode, was when Drew and Barrett were having a conversation. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about, I think it was when they were, you know, the show was trying to convince us that Jason might stay or someone might stay. And Drew and Barrett were saying that, like, well, Jason would go after, like, the vets in that side of the house, or they were talking about if they should start to turn on the tool shed because they know they're at the bottom. And I think Drew was saying, like, I don't know, is it too soon? But I think Barrett might have made the comment that was like, well, they might take it first.
Yep.
And I was like, he's so right, because, like, as you could see, Angela is already thinking it. It's something that's being talked about a lot.
Right.
So it does, like, seem early, but both sides are already talking about it. So I don't know. I feel like I don't know if it would be I don't think it would have been the right move this week.
No,
I think it would have been too soon.
Yeah, I think that ultimately, like, I've definitely done a bit of a 180 on Drew, to where I felt like before it was kind of like, okay, maybe Drew is somebody to be concerned about down the line. I think that Drew is the perfect, like, Matt Hoffman, where it's like, if you want someone in our alliance to go, we kind of just, you know, offer Drew up on a silver platter. It's like, here he is, you can take him out, you can kind of blame him for everything. He's kind of like the perfect scapegoat in that way. And I thought for a while that's kind of like, that's what you should do. Like, wait till you get to jury and then turn on him there.
Yeah, because they're getting a lot from Drew. Like, they can sit here and complain. Drew and Barrett are right in the middle.
Right.
Who are you getting all this information from?
Right, but Drew and Barrett. What I will say that I've noticed from Drew this week is some pretty big flaws in gameplay, where he seems to have this inability to, like, not say the thing that he's thinking, but do it in like a joking manner to like, he'll say things like, well, what, like he straight up went to Melody and was like, what if I turned on you at some point? That'd be so funny, wouldn't it? And it's like, okay, yeah, that's kind of a joke that you could do. But then he'll go to like Devens and be like, what if we actually like put up like Kamu, Chuk, and Haley on the block? That'd be so funny. Wouldn't that be funny? And it's like, okay, after the second or third time that you're saying that would be funny, it's like, I got to question why you keep doing this. And I think that's really like his biggest flaw. He's passing it off as like a laugh. Like he's sort of You know, he's sort of like trying to like, you know, just kind of like throw you off and kind of be like, oh, I'm just being funny. I'm not being legit about it. But it's like when you keep doing things like that, it's like there actually is concern here. So I'm with you where it's like, I think that the beginning of the week, I definitely felt like this doesn't make sense. Why are you going for him now? I think he just went off camera. I think he's still here. He just went off camera. Oh no, he actually did leave. I don't know. He'll come back because his internet probably went out. But anyway, I think it was you know, I think it was one of those things where it's like maybe you should make that move later on, but now I'm kind of like, okay, maybe it does actually make sense to do that a little bit earlier on. But you know,
I think the strategy is not necessarily flawed, but the way he's kind of going about it, especially this week, it seemed like he's gotten a little too comfortable about his position.
Oh, he's so unaware too that like this is happening to him, which is what
he thinks like, oh, I have both sides, I'm chilling, but now Barrett's like, I don't know, bro.
Yeah, so yeah, I think definitely like it makes sense to kind of be sketched out by him, but I also wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that was because of the paranoia. It's kind of allowing Drew to sort of, you know, feel this way. And now there's actual like stuff to potentially rat him out with. So definitely something to keep an eye out on. But ultimately,
I'm curious, like, you know how before the HOH they have like the DRs where they'll be like, I really want to win this HOH, or I don't want to win this week because blah, blah, blah. At the beginning of this week, Drew said he didn't want to win because he didn't want to show his card. Now, for this HOH, I'm curious what he'll say. You know, if he's like, if him and Barrett are going to be like, okay, I feel like we might get put up because the tool shed, I feel like they're going to start turning on us. I need to win this HOH. And that would be an interesting shift if we see that.
Yeah, no, exactly. I feel like to my knowledge, Drew has said he does not want to win this HOH, which is terrible. But we'll see if maybe that changes. Ultimately, though, at this point in the game, though, Drew does still have a lot of influence. We see, you know, Kamu is one of the first people he goes to. They kind of have this talk about how he wants to put up Lala with how little game they've talked. Drew does, however, kind of talk him into potentially not putting up Mallory. He kind of talks about it like that might be an okay idea. And that's
a great idea.
He goes right to Mallory here to kind of see, like, is there potential? Oh my God, that green screen. There is potential to see, like, you know, is there a way
I don't know how to
with Mallory? And as we know, Mallory is not great in one-on-one conversations. This is probably her biggest flaw. She's just not good at saying what she needs to say to like really keep herself safe. This is, I think, a better conversation than her conversation with Dee, but it's still not that great. She kind of starts off talking about how like, okay, I'd actually go for Jason. I feel like this was a fine place to start. Like if she just focuses on this, where she's like, actually, I don't trust Jason. I feel like it's fine if he goes this week. I'm not aligned with him. I think that would have been fine. But then she takes it a step further and brings up how nervous she is about Dee and Devens and talks about the fact that, you know, Devens is going to win a power soon. She feels like if she were to have won, she would put up Dee wanting her gone before she can win hers. And this does the opposite for Kamu. It's like, okay, now I have all the reason to put you on the block and things like that. So not a great moment for Mallory.
So Mike, care to comment?
Mike, play devil's advocate.
Gladly.
Play Mallory's advocate.
Yeah.
Is she the devil now? Isn't that the implication here?
No.
I mean, I guess if you want her to be, sure, we can do that.
That's fine. I'm an atheist. This doesn't bother me at all.
Okay. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at when it comes to with Mallory. Like I said, not great for her. She is trying to kind of bullshit him here, and like I said, it's not going great. But then he talks to Lyric, and once again, some really great work from Lyric this week. I continue to be very impressed by her strategy. She talks about how she feels relieved that Rome is gone game-wise. She decides to also downplay her feelings towards him. One thing to note, I love the like Godfather music they had in the background here to like really show how like Lyric is like really kind of like laying it on thick here, make people feel like she's not really attached to Rome, that she's like, oh, well, I want him to like get to know my family first, and I can't really feel love towards him and things like that. Meanwhile, they're showing clips of like them just like constantly making out, and it was so great.
Funny.
They did that. Questions are on. She brings up how she would vibe with him in Rome in terms of guys she likes.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've definitely never made memes about her or anything, or done anything out of pocket with any of that.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah. So he also tells her he has no real intentions of putting her on the block. For now, he tells her this. We'll go back to that a little later, but I do want to ask, Joanne, I haven't got to your thought. What do you think about Lyric as a player? Because I feel like I've been very impressed by her these past couple weeks.
I know. At the beginning of the show, I was like, I am not a Lyric fan. Get her out of here, especially when she started the showmance with Rome right away.
Yeah.
Talking all baby to him.
Oh, my God. Ugh.
But I must say, she understands how men work, because it's easy to be like, look at her just flirting with all these guys and blah, 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 blah. But she knows what she's doing, because that is the way to like, is that simple sometimes, to just, those little things can put you over the edge, especially with people like Kamu and Chuk or Yash, when that's all they seem to care about in the live feeds.
Yeah.
Talking about, how they want a Pilates girl. So Lyric clocks those things and uses that to her advantage. I think Rome leaving was so fantastic for her game.
Agreed.
Not in terms of numbers, but in terms of like her focus in the game. And I mean, she killed the veto this week. Like, I must say, in terms of everyone in the house, she's someone I'm definitely increasing. Like, she's increasing my interest. I've had more interest in her as a player, and I mean, with Rome gone and now Jason, I'm curious to see. It really depends on who wins HOH. I think that'll really affect. Maybe it'll be her. Oh my God, could you imagine?
I mean, she almost won this one, so it's definitely possible that she could. She's shown her capabilities of winning a comp, but
she's not playing the middle as hard as like Drew and Barrett, but she's also, I don't know, she's like had decent relationships, I feel like, with the other side of the house.
Yeah.
She's playing a little bit more than some other people, so curious to see. She's been impressing me more than my first impression of her.
Her game for me really comes alive in the diary room. I feel like getting to hear her thoughts, like you hear her act, not the voice that she's putting on, like you actually see like
this one.
I have so much to tell
you. Exactly.
Hard eyes.
Right.
Hard
eyes. Yes. When you actually hear like her speak, it kind of like
shit. I'm recording doing this.
That was your choice, but what I was trying to say was like this is what Mike does. He always makes me lose my train of thought. And what was I trying to say? Okay, so her game for me really comes alive in the diary room. I feel like just like seeing her piece things together, kind of understanding her perspective on things. I'm really liking her game. I'm really liking what she's doing. She understands that, like, if I keep gassing up Kamu, talking about how I'm attracted to him and things like that, you can kind of, he's going to fall under my spell. He's going to see me as somebody that, I'm important to his game. I'm a piece to his game. I'm somebody, to not put up. Even this week, yes, he puts her on the block, which is stupid, in my opinion, because you just told her you wouldn't, and now you're reneging on that immediately. It's still with the intention of, like, I want you to win. I see you as a pawn and things like that. Despite the fact he says some pretty degrading things to her, Lyric recognizes that, like, this is kind of what I have to do. And it sucks that she has to do that. But again, she's doing a phenomenal job. So in my opinion, like in terms of the other side, she is by far one of the players I have the most confidence in. I think she's doing.
Yeah, she's one of the players of this season for sure.
Actually, as you were just saying that, it kind of made me almost see a similarity between her game and Dee's game. Like the way that you see Dee, like a lot of the guys are like the people she's aligned with for Dee.
Yeah.
She knows that they think they're in control, but Dee sees through everything. And you've seen that in a lot of Dee's DR or like or on Twitter or whatever, where she's like, they think this was their idea. They're so stupid. I feel like Lyric kind of has the same perception, and people see Lyric the same, where she's just like, that ditzy girl, and they don't think Lyric is thinking that far into the game. So I think that Lyric also is taking notes on that and trying to see how she can use their perception of her to her advantage.
100%. Yeah, just in general, very, very impressed by Lyric. I think I've said it before, like week one, I was like kind of turned off by a lot of the stuff that she was doing. It was giving me bad PTSD to a certain ex of mine. But you know, week 2 and on with like what she was doing with Devens and things like that. I like what she's doing. I'm generally becoming a fan of her gameplay. And I think, like I said, her DRs are really, I think, just doing a good job of kind of like giving you that sort of context into what she's doing and giving you this window into her game that we otherwise wouldn't get. I wish she'd camera talk more, but she's also kind of Jesus Christ, no. Anyway, and with that, Mike has seemingly disappeared from the podcast. I don't know what could have possibly happened for me to do that. But anyway, yes.
If Lyric won HOH, who do you think she would put up?
That's the thing. I don't know if she should, because I do think someone like, unlike a Drew, I think she's kind of good with everybody right now. I think she'd have to take like really easy shots at that point.
I bet. I thought that was the Lyric and Rome photo I had ready.
Well, that's certainly a variation of it. But you know, I honestly don't know. That's a good question, because I do feel she's in a spot where people just trust her, and I don't really know who she'd want to put up, because I think that Lyric is kind of in survival mode right now, where like her focus is like, what can I do to make sure I'm not on the block? Her focus is not really what can I do to like further my position. And unfortunately, it's kind of what happens when the same side's in power. Like you're wishful thinking, but it's not your main priority. And I think Lyric's main priority is how can I get in with that group when eventually I have to, you know, when eventually like they're getting picked off, how can I be the last one standing? So I honestly don't know what she would do. It'd be very interesting to see for sure, because she's so well aligned with like obviously Mallory and Melody, but she's also really getting close with Chuk. You know, you have like Dee who trusts her a lot. You have Devens who really likes her. So she really is like a short list of people. Lyric probably should not win HOH for a while. That's probably my honest answer.
It's because
that's
I have so much to talk to you about.
Exactly. Lots to talk to you about. Yeah, lots to tell you. And that stuff that she's telling them is very effective.
Yeah, you're right. I could see her motivation for like, you know, wanting to stay off the block and like, but it's kind of a bit much to win HOH and then potentially have to be more in the spotlight and make those tough choices. So Ooh, interesting.
But to segue from someone I think is playing very well, we go to someone who I'm honestly becoming a bit disappointed by. We see a segment between Melody and Drew. They're kind of developing this showmance. They don't want it to be a showmance, but it's very much developing into something. And this is what I do want to talk about. Melody is like a player that I think has so like much immense potential. She seems like somebody who would be so good at like just getting people to do things that she wants them to do, you know, pushing the things that she needs to push. She has this very like assertive type personality and things like that, to where, you know, it's very clear where she stands. But I feel like this week she's really starting to get snowed by Drew, and it's really hurting her as a player. There's multiple things Melody does this week where I'm just like, why are you doing that? Like, you were so adamant that this is what you want to do, and now you're going in the other direction. So yeah, Melody is someone who I think, unlike Lyric, is kind of like getting misted. Yes, Mike, you have a question for the class?
No, anytime I hear Melody, I just think of Rome week 1 on feeds just being like, Melody, Melody.
That's how I think of her too, actually, from that small moment.
Doesn't help that every FaceTime we're on, I hear that at least 5 times.
Yeah, but yeah, Melody overall, like I said, I really want, she's someone I really want to have faith in. I am slowly losing that faith, and it's moments like this that kind of showcase why.
I would kind of love to see her win HOH next.
Oh yeah, I would too.
I do too, because
I feel like
Mallory is safe.
It's true. We all win, yeah.
We would hope so. Unless it's big 27, then
like you said, I feel like she has like a lot of that.
Or if she pulls a vessel.
She has a lot of that drive and like fight in her, and she wants to like have the opportunity to do something. And I think having the chance to do that through like an HOH would be really interesting to watch.
Definitely.
I mean, yeah, like you said, she did kind of, at least in this episode tonight, they showed her kind of being the one to spearhead keeping Jason, and she rallied everyone and was like, hey, what do you think about this? So she definitely is like maybe the biggest driving force on that side of the house. I don't know.
She could be, but what they don't show is like it's like a day later of Drew being like, so we're just going to evict Jason, right? And she's like, yeah, I think that's probably the best thing we should do. And now suddenly like she didn't want to evict Jason. We'll talk about this when we get to the eviction episode. But there was stuff about that edit that was definitely frustrating to an extent.
I was going to ask you what you meant by that when you said Drew was like,
but yeah, so we already talked about this. Devin goes to the BB time capsule. He ends up getting the Diamond Power Veto. I think we forgot to mention the fact that not only does he get the Diamond Power Veto, but it's also good for 6 weeks in the game, which is absolutely insane. Like, look, again, we already talked about how poorly designed things were when it comes to the HOH. We talked about the time capsule. This is entirely why the time capsule is too early, in my opinion. But now you're also putting a power in that is basically something that like is a free pass to jury at this point, because if you're a good enough player, like you're able to hold on to this for those 6 weeks, like you basically have a pass to jury. Like it's crazy that Devens really is just going to get there through playing a good game, but also like with the Diamond Power vetoes. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, very disappointing. Mike, what are you going to distract me with now?
I'm jumping on this because honestly, if I'm an HOH and I find out someone has that, I don't care if you're my number one ally, you're going on the block. I'm flushing that.
Yeah, I don't, and that's something that definitely seems like a no-brainer.
And especially if Devin starts threatening it of like, oh, if you put DRI on the block, I'm going to use it. It's like, okay, use it.
I think the problem is that he's only told D about that, so I don't know if that strategy is actually going to work. Because
it's been speculated.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely think it could work, but I think because he's only told her, I think Devens wants that moment where like nobody knows about it, and then he plays it, and like everyone's in shock. Like if anyone's gonna do that, it's gonna be Devens. So I agree. I think like, you know, I think if this was someone that wasn't Devens and told everybody, sure, that's absolutely the move. But I think because he smartly is seeing and this is why I hate that it's 6 weeks, because he can just tell D has this thing in his pocket for 6 weeks that nobody knows about except for D, and he's just safe. There's really no downside to this at all. So yeah, it just really sucks. It really sucks because like, even if someone else wins power now on the other side, that can just be completely negated by the Diamond Power veto. So it's just really frustrating. It was the second thing that happened this week that made me feel like maybe the season's just a wash, you know? Like, so
it's interesting to see that relationship with D and Devens and just how strong their allyship is, that he was, you know, it's not even like this is the one thing I'm keeping completely to myself. Like he chose to tell one person, and that person is D. It was so funny too when he was telling her and she did not understand. He was like,
which she's the Billie Eilish, yeah.
Power veto, and she's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, it's honestly really great for Dee's game to just like have that knowledge and just because even if Devens doesn't want to use it, technically now Dee has that information if she wanted to use it. Not that I would think that's smart at any time soon, but you never know what can happen in the game. And now she has that information. But yeah, I guess I didn't expect Dee and Devens to be like so. It just seems like they blindly trust each other, which if they can keep that up, will serve them well, I think.
Yeah, I think they're doing a great job. Again, this is the other thing I hate is that I do think Dee and Devens are playing really good games right now. The problem is that there's this asterisk because of the Diamond Power veto, because like it also has like a negative effect on that person's game because everyone's going to say like, okay, if Devens didn't have this Diamond Power veto, would he have played the game differently? So I think that's the other thing where it's like I hate it because it takes power away from the other side. But I also hate it because it makes it so we are not really assessing gameplay. We're assessing the fact that Devens has this thing in his pocket, and that's essentially, gives him a free pass to jury. And you kind of are assessing like, okay, would he really be in as good of a position without it? So it's just, the whole thing is just really frustrating. Like, I don't think an advantage like this should ever be that long. The only other times this has been played, it was like 2 to 3 weeks, I believe. I don't know the exact time, but I think it was like around there. It's never been more than 3 weeks.
In season 3, it was just that 1 week. In season 12, I don't know when it
was a Diamond Power veto in season 3.
Yeah.
Amy
had it.
Oh, okay.
I made this joke in a chat of like plot twist. It's actually Amy's power veto.
That's what you were referencing. Got it. Okay.
I didn't even realize. Oh, sorry.
I don't think it did the. Oh wait, was it in season 4?
I feel like I saw online it was in a more recent season.
I thought it was I thought Matt Hoffman was the first to get it, and that's why he didn't understand it.
It was
right.
It was implemented differently, but I believe the last veto or something was.
So it was a special name in Big Brother 4 as like the final power of veto, but like properly was introduced in Big Brother 12, and then aside from that, it's only been in Big Brother 21. So that's the only other time we've seen it. There was another variant of it, obviously, with like America's veto, but that's a little bit different. So, in 26, but yeah, again, the time this has been available, it's never been this long. 6 weeks is just absolutely egregious. Even 4, I think, would be pushing it. But 6 is just whole other level of crazy. But yeah, I digress. It's just very frustrating because, again, I think Devens is playing a great game right now. It's just hard to really talk about it when everyone's talking about the Diamond Power veto. It just completely overshadows everything. So
yeah, I didn't even think about that. How that definitely like changes how you navigate the game when you feel like you're basically safe for the next 6 weeks.
Right, you got that safety net. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the only instance of it being in the game I remember was when Matt saved himself with it and then wasted it on Kathy.
Yep, and it was like falling apart. Yeah, that was a great moment.
You big dummy.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so we see everyone, they're kind of dismayed they didn't get it. Devens has a little fun with this and just kind of goes around to make everyone think that other people have it. Even goes as far as to be like, yeah, maybe Dee could have had it. Maybe Angela could have had it. I thought this was kind of a fun moment. If you're going to have something like this, you might and not tell anybody, you might as well just like try to mislead everyone. I've done this in games. I'm sure others have done this as well. I think this is a great tactic to have. So
yeah, but how do you know I'm not lying?
Stop. That was not one of my finest moments. Yeah, so we see Angela also is already kind of getting sketched out. She kind of feels like maybe he has something, but she also is like not gonna ride it out, which, growth for Angela. You're not going to hear me say that much this season, but that is something that is growth for Angela. Other things, not so much, but I will give her that. So,
growth for Angela.
Yeah. So we see Kamu goes to Drew about his initial noms, and Drew kind of wants to really change his mind here. He has another plan, and again, this is where you see the beginning of the week. Drew actually has quite a bit of influence here because he goes to Kamu. He's like, I get what you're trying to do, but maybe you should just do what we did last week. It worked for Rome. Why not just do it to Jason? Put Lyric up as an initial nom. We use the veto on Lyric. We put up Jason, and Jason will go. And Kamu is like, this is genius. This is what he decides to do. I don't know if this was the right move for Kamu. I feel like kind of putting up Lyric, you're kind of putting her in a spot where, like, sure, she's cozying up to you right now, but Lyric even makes it clear in her confessional that she's not thrilled about this, that she's kind of upset that this happened.
Her confessional?
Yeah, it's a confession. It's confessionals, DRs, confessionals. You're in the diary room. You're giving out confessionals in the diary room. So, yes.
It's a DR.
Yes.
Confessionals or Survivor.
But, yeah, basically... We see that, you know, he kind of decides to go along with this plan. And then he goes to Jason and has, I think, a pretty bad conversation with Jason where he basically says, like, oh, I'm not putting you up today. And he makes it very clear the verbiage is today. And if I'm Jason in this situation, I'm like, okay, but like, what happens after today? Like, you keep saying today. You're not saying this week. You're not saying you're not going to put me up. You're not saying I'm safe. You're just saying you're not going to put me up today. What the fuck else am I supposed to believe?
Yeah, you break the renom rule.
Smartly recognizes that, like, oh, wait a minute, I'm going on the block. And he's blowing smoke up my ass, and I'm probably going to... go here, and I'm probably going to be the renom. So again, this not great work from Kamu. Also not great work from Kamu with this conversation with Lyric here. I think he kind of puts her in a spot where it's like, I feel like you're expendable. I feel like you're somebody that, you know, can go up as a pawn and we can keep using the veto on you. And nobody wants that. Nobody ever is like willingly wanting to be a pawn. And if you are, you're not trying to win the game. And Lyric is very much trying to win the game. So, yeah. So we get to the nomination ceremony. Kamu does exactly what he said he would do. He does put up Lyric, Lala, and Mallory. And any thoughts on these noms?
I was just like, 3 women on the block.
Of course.
But I kind of agree with what you said about the conversations and just thinking of this as a whole, like, in regards to these nominations. I think Kamu got a bigger target on his back after this HOH, whereas, like...
We can only hope so.
Yeah. But the other 2 HOHs, like, I feel like their targets... They kind of came out okay at the end of the week, but I think this week Kamu, like, did not do a great job of like managing his relationships in the house with these conversations. Like you said, Lyric, you know, Mallory's still in the house, Melody's still in the house. Like, everyone saw how he called out Jason, which like called a lot of attention to Jason, but like, that also means, oh, Kamu could do that to me, and he's gonna just air out my entire game to the whole house. I want him going. Whereas I feel like it kind of puts the vets or like the icons in a better position, and I feel like Kamu kind of moves to the top of people's targets over people like D or over people like Devens. Now it's like, I don't know, I might go for Kamu first. So
even the way he talks to a lot of his nominees here, they don't show this in the episode, but part of his grievances with Lala is that people don't like the fact that she was complaining about like towels on the floor or something like that, and he told her that like she needed to stop complaining about that. He also, I think, told Lyric that like she needed to like back off flirting with like other guys and things like that. Just really bad all around. But, you know, Kamu is a piece of shit, so I wouldn't expect anything more from him as a result of that. So, yeah. What were you going to say, Mike?
I was going to say, do I get to speak on these noms?
Yes, go ahead.
There's a few comments that Kamu has made that I have openly said on my Twitter at WonderPuffMV, if you're interested in following.
Way to ruin your plug at the end.
Where he made some very questionable comments about drag that I'm not a fan of. Mr. I'm an MMA fighter. I have an image to uphold. And while like Jason is the move for anybody on that side of the house, I find it specifically like ironic that the person making that move is the one who is under fire for comments like that have that homophobic underlining to them. And especially to say, "Oh, I'm an MMA fighter. I have an image to uphold." Like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And as for the other noms, I just gotta say, fuck, it didn't work.
Exactly. Yeah, just sneeze it away. But
I'll let you do that later.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get into Wednesday's episode, though, because there's quite a bit to talk about on the Wednesday episode. A lot really does.
Hold on, Mallory's on feeds.
From the Fallout. Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, damn.
They cut. I'm back.
Speaking of Mallory, she actually does weigh in and talks about how she hates being on the block against Lyric, with how hard she's kind of had to
fight so far. Mallory's on the block too.
Yes, I'm sure you do. Lyric's also devastated to go up. We see Lala kind of expected more from Kamu, but she's hoping to show everyone how much of a fighter she is. And Lyric, again, does some great work here. He goes right to Kamu. They have this great conversation about how she's simply just a pawn and he didn't want to blindside her, makes it clear that nobody's coming for her. And he makes it clear the goal is to renom Jason. And this is also where I think Kamu messes up, because I get what he's trying to do, where it's like, I'm trying to be fully transparent that, like, this is my target. This is what I'm trying to do here. But, like, let's just say on the off chance that, like, Jason wins veto here, people can expose all they want to Jason here that, like, Kamu was trying to put you up. We need to make sure that, like, you use this in, like, the worst way possible that, like, completely ruins his HOH. Like, there were many directions where this could have been a very bad HOH for Kamu, and he's very lucky that the outcome turned out the way that it did.
It was a good HOH for Kamu, but it was a bad HOH for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, because he did, like, just air out his whole game with Jason at the tea party, and, like, it doesn't really seem like he cared if Jason found out that. I don't think it was, like, that talking. Like, if it was, like, if him and Jason were aligned or something, and he was saying that to Lyric, I think it would have been more like, that was a horrible move on his part. But I think, like, him and Jason are not working together.
Yeah.
So it's not, like, super shocking, but I see what you're saying. Like, if Jason...
It's risky. It's risky. Yeah.
Different. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So we see Jason goes to comfort Lala and Taylor. He kind of feels that a backdoor is very likely happening. He talks to them about this, that I think I'm going to get renommed.
Yeah, so he already knows it.
Exactly. Like, he's not stupid here. This is the other reason why I think his wording to Jason was kind of bad, aside from the obvious. But we see that Lala is hoping that this isn't true because she feels that Jason's kind of what's keeping her safe, and also hopes he can use the veto on her if he's picked to play. And Kamu and Mallory then have a bit more of a conversation where she kind of lets him know that, like, she had a feeling this was going to happen, but it sucks. And he tells her that, like, he really respects her and likes her as a human, and that Jason is his target with how strong of a competitor that he is. In reality, she's absolutely his plan B here. That's who he wants to go.
Honestly, this is the one time I enjoy seeing Kamu on feeds, is when she's also there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Shut up.
Oh, yeah. But she does feel, again, like she's a potential target if Jason wins Blockbuster. Because, again, Kamu's not very good at hiding his cards here. Everyone can tell what he's doing. He's not doing a good job of hiding this because Mallory figures it out. He isn't really bringing that up to her at all. We do see Mallory goes to Lyric. They kind of comfort each other over being nominated. And Lyric really wants to, like, gun hard for the veto here. This is a big deal for her. She doesn't want to be seen as expendable. And, we see that basically Drew talks to Kamu about how he thinks that Jason got the power, and that because of this, they need to now potentially not backdoor Jason. But Kamu thinks that they should just flush whatever power that he has, because he's just that adamant that Jason has to go in this scenario. And we see that Jason then talks to Mallory and compares notes about their conversations with Kamu, who tells him that Kamu told him that he and Lala are being seen as the biggest threats in the house. He kind of asked her to select him for house guest choice, and he's going to plan to use it on her. But here's the thing, Jason's doing this with everybody. Everybody he goes to, he's saying that he's going to use the veto on them. And look, I don't think this is bad for Jason. You want to exercise your options here when you're in a spot like Jason, where your game is so exposed to the point where people are so wary to work with you. You have to kind of find your way in with people. And so going to this nomination saying, I'm going to use the veto on you, and then doing that with other people, you're not necessarily promising them that. You're just saying, like, there's a chance that I can do that. So I think Jason was correct in what he did here. I think this was a good move for him, despite how much Kamu's going to harp on this later on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's stupid to think he wouldn't do that. Like, right. Which is what he said in the fight or whatever. But I think that where he went wrong is kind of bragging or telling other people that that was his strategy, which is what the issue was with the whole Angela thing. It's like, it wasn't a bad move to cry to her and make her feel bad for you. And you had that cute little moment with the camera and the audience, like, we ate that up. But then you went and told someone about it. Who told someone about it? Because here, it was Mallory who told Kamu, or Melody, Melody who told Kamu, and like, oh wait, she was one of the nominees, right?
No, Melody wasn't. No,
I get confused with Melody and Mallory. Jeez,
it's like, not just you. A lot of people do. It's hard to.
Right. That's where I was going with that.
I never do. That's a skill issue.
Melody wasn't even one of the nominations, and she's the one who blew up the plan. That's the thing. So again, like you said, I don't think that was like the bad move. It was that he was messy in terms of exposing his move and his thoughts.
Yeah, Jason's biggest flaw and I'll talk about more about this when we kind of talk about like where I think he went wrong overall, is that he just can't keep his mouth shut. He needs to air out everything and tell people exactly what he's doing. And it's good to be transparent, but you also don't want to just go around telling everybody like, oh, this is my strategy, this is what I'm doing. Like, I think that's kind of where he went wrong. But yeah, so we get to the veto draw. Jason is picked to play veto here.
And for a second,
it's like, oh my God, maybe there is a shot. Maybe Jason could potentially win this. Maybe we'll get a very exciting outcome. We see Haley's also picked to play. And like I said, this is where Jason kind of goes around to everybody except for Kamu. Kamu, he's telling that he will use it however he wants him to. And Kamu does not want him to use the veto, which, that's kind of not going to be in Jason's best interest. So obviously he's not going to do that. But, to Kamu, his word is all that matters. So that's kind of where we're at with that.
It's usually how toxic masculine men like Kamu work.
Exactly. But we get to the veto where they travel to the year 2051, and we see it's basically the classic bowl arena comp, but done in the style of pickleball, and a very exciting comp, I would say. Very, very, very much down to the nitty gritty here. It comes down to Mallory and Lyric. Both of them, we didn't know who it was ultimately going to be. It kind of seemed like Mallory had the edge, but Lyric ultimately does win the veto here. And a great win for her. Really does show that, she's this big threat. She's someone that can, people aren't necessarily seeing her as a threat now. They're seeing her as oh, she's good at winning competition. She can kind of, and this again shows how good Lyric is doing that.
It's good for her, but it's not good for me.
Well, I mean, it turned out to be okay for you, but yeah,
not here
much. But yeah, so Jason now knows that he's in trouble, so he wants to use all the possible chaos that he can to just pin the two trios against each other. He goes right to D and first talks about how he's worried he's going to be a renom and how he's kind of open to working with anyone. and then talks about how he feels that the red corner 3 has to go. He's worried about Haley, Chuk, and Kamu, and he really wants to prove that trust, but then goes to Chuk and does the exact same thing with Dee, Angela, and Devens. And yeah, this is where Jason is just doing way too much. I love that he's doing it. It's very fun to watch, but it is it's not great. It's not great what he's trying to do here. He pretty much, this is very much like, I know I feel like I'm going home, so I'm just going to be as chaotic as I possibly can be. And if people call me out on it, I don't give a fuck. I'm leaving anyway. So
before we jump into this, can I share something? Can I share my thoughts on Mallory in this competition?
I mean, she doesn't win the veto, but sure.
My thoughts. You are sick nasty. You are incredible.
All right, enough of that. Anyway, so we go ahead.
Really cool.
All right, we're not going to continue that. But yeah. So
I'm just kidding.
Jesus.
Focus.
Step into it.
Yeah, this is this is common when Mike's on here.
No.
But, anyways, we get to the big thing to talk about here, of course, and that is that Dee does go to Kamu. They have this conversation about how he wants to renom Jason, but he can't just outright renom Jason. He can't just, do the normal thing and just put Jason on the block. No, he's got to make a big fucking spectacle about it because, of course, Kamu has an image to uphold and Jason's getting in the way of said image for him to uphold. And, he's not going to say that, but that's very clear what he is trying to do here. So he talks about how he wants to rehearse with what to say to him about what he did with the veto and how different his answer was to everyone. So there's this plan to, and normally this is something that you could just do at a veto ceremony, but Kamu again, he's a bit of a showman and he wanted to call a full-on house meeting that day, but then he was like, oh no, okay, tea party, I'm just going to go ahead and just do it right there. And so he wants to use this as an opportunity to expose him so nobody knows to trust him forward. And I mean, I'll give my thoughts really quick on this. This was completely unnecessary in my opinion.
Remind me, whose tea party was it again?
This is the definite Mallory's tea party, yes. But this is very much, a classic example of you're in power and you're really feeling it and you kind of forget the fact that you're not going to be in power forever. So you kind of just feel like you can do whatever the fuck you want and there's not going to be any consequences. And obviously, if there's pertinent information to air out, then air out that pertinent information. I think house meetings, there definitely is a purpose to them. But house meetings are usually for multiple people. It's multiple people are telling me different things. We need to air this out. I don't really know what to feel right now. And you kind of are trying to get everybody to play an active role in that conversation. Going to Jason, trying to expose something when he's literally already been exposed last week and almost has no allies. He's lost pretty much all the social capital he has. He is very much already the house target. It's just being cruel for the sake of being cruel. That's just what it is. There's just no other way to say it. It was cruel. It was unnecessary. It was, I think, a very good example of Kamu's character, or lack of, I should say, and really just the kind of person that he is. And yeah, I was really disgusted, honestly, to see just how much he was just hyping himself up about this. He was so excited to just completely shit on Jason. He doesn't say this in the episode, but he kept saying, especially I want to make sure he has nobody, even if he's still in the game. I want him to have no allies whatsoever. And it's bro, he's already lost everyone. There's really not much more you need to do. It's just, this is not necessary at all. So yeah, I did not particularly enjoy this. I did enjoy the direction it went with what Jason said to him, which we'll talk about, but I thought the intent and just the whole way it went down, just really unnecessary.
Yeah, it's because Big Brother put him in a tutu and he needed to feel better after that.
Yeah, he
image to uphold.
I don't feel. He even says in the episode, there's a line where he's like, my friends are gonna laugh about this, but I feel chill right now. It's okay, yeah, he definitely.
Who are you trying to convince? Yeah,
right. It's you can tell it's that's the 8th or 9th take he did of that, or they wanted him to say something funny, and he was like, I feel chill right now. All right, Kamu, say it again. I feel chill right now. All right, I'm still not excited. Right. I feel chill right now. It's like...
When I saw on like Twitter and stuff that he blew up the tea party and addressed everything, I was like, oh my god, crazy. But then when I saw it and they had like all the sandwiches out and everyone was like so excited for this like nice little event that they had planned, it was just, it made me so sad and that it had to get ruined by this.
Yeah, because like this was supposed to be like this fun night of just like taking stress away from the game. And I was watching this because like I knew something was going to go down at the tea party. I wasn't really watching much this week because like I said, I wasn't really feeling it. But this was a moment I did watch, and at first it was just a fun moment of people bonding. They were sharing different stories. They were, you know, telling about like crazy shit that they did. Yash was talking about some crazy story. I forgot what it was about, but it was something they kept cutting feeds for because it was so outrageous. So, you know, like they were all having a good time. And here comes Kamu just basically trying to ruin all the fun. Like the tension, like the vibe changed immediately. It got so silent. It was so awkward. I saw people comparing it to like the conversation Leah had with T-Core when they were like outside and they weren't saying anything to each other for like 30 seconds. It was that, but like everybody was that silent. It just, I did not find it fun to watch. I thought it was very unnecessary. I did not enjoy the way that Jason was being attacked, quite frankly. And, you know, just to speak about me for a second, I've had this instance in a game before where like I played a game, a Big Brother game last year where I was in this really good position. I was somebody that, you know, I was in this dominant alliance and things like that. And, you know, I was somebody who, in a way, you could kind of view me as like untouchable and things like, because I just had so many people on my side, but I had this power basically where I had to essentially like rank people every single round, but I had to give somebody a 1. And well, there was this one guy in the game who we just did not get along at all. We were just constantly at each other's throats. So I just kept giving him a 1. And well, there was one day where like he was feeling really down on himself, and at first I was just kind of like poking fun at it, but I stopped myself because I was like, no, this like conflicts with who I am as a person. If I don't like seeing it on the show, what does that say about my character? Why would I want to do this? You know, when I'm just playing a game and things like that. Like there are just certain things that are just not worth it. And I saw people say like Kamu's going to chicken out of this. Kamu's not going to go through with it. No, Kamu's absolutely going to go through with this because he kept talking about how he wants that big TV moment. And it's like, again, big TV moments are for moments where like someone is like down and out and now they're finally like rising to the top. Like when we talk about Big Brother, you know, the great moments like Dan's funeral, underdog in that moment, and then suddenly putting himself in a spot where now he's rising to the top. You look at like the leftovers forming in Big Brother 24. That's a group of outsiders that were coming together. Specifically, Taylor was, you know, finally having a group and things like that. It's not someone who is in a dominant alliance that is trying to make a show out of things. Those are never moments that people remember. And so, again, it really just says a lot about Kamu, how bruised of an ego that he has, how much he wants to just constantly like just put on a show. It was just, I did not enjoy it at all. But anyways, I'll get off my soapbox. What do you want to say about the tea party?
I think like you said, the house meeting sort of thing makes sense if you're hearing conflicting things, and he even tried to say, oh, I was just trying to clear the air, but
right. I'm playing a loyal and honest game. Yeah,
but Jason said exactly what I was thinking, which was like, there's nothing to clear. You're just like telling everyone all my game things, and like no one's confused. You just want to like make me look bad. Yeah, honestly, and I think like you said, having a big TV moment or like seeing an underdog, whatever, I feel like it became Jason's moment, and like it just made everyone want to root for him more, at least us watching it.
100%. Because like I've enjoyed Jason up to this point. There are things about his game that I was honestly pretty annoyed by, but this moment I was like, I'm really impressed by the way he's handling this. He's not getting mad. He's actually staying fairly calm. He was
really calm.
Right, like he's talking through things in a way where it's like that's the game. That's just what I'm trying to do. I'm worried that I'm going to be renommed. I feel like that's a normal feeling to have. Like, everything he's saying makes a lot of sense. Even Lala is backing him up here and saying, like, listen, he never promised me that he would use the veto on me. Maybe it was insinuated that, like, that's something I wanted to do, but he never specifically said that. So again, I think Jason comes out of this conversation actually really good, despite the fact that people are ostracizing him after this. I do feel that this was a great moment for Jason and really kind of propped him up to be this sort of underdog that you really kind of hope for and root for every season.
Yeah, and I think in this situation and the one with Angela, in both situations, he didn't get defensive. He was just like, yeah, I did that, and so what?
Yeah. Like, he just owned it. Yeah,
he owned it. And I think that's, like denying it is not going to help.
Yeah.
So...
No, and that's what I appreciate about Jason, too, is like when he's called out on something, he's like, yeah, no, I absolutely did that. Like, I'm not going to pretend I didn't. I wanted to.
Yeah, because he's like, I'm on the bottom. I don't have a choice. What do you, wouldn't you do the same? And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, no. So, yeah, I think Jason handles himself very well here. There's a moment with him and Angela where, like, she kind of gets upset that he's trying to call her out. I got really annoyed with Angela in this moment. I'm like, this is like, there's certain, like, in this situation, like, just shut the fuck up. Like, this is a Kamu and Jason conversation.
You're not the victim here, girl.
Did not need to, like, get your way into this. Like, this had nothing to do with you. So I was not a fan of this at all. Mike, what do you want to say about this that doesn't have to do with Mallory?
What?
What do you want to say about this that doesn't have to do with Mallory?
The fact that it's her tea party?
Yeah, it is.
And no, this moment, I watched it all on feeds.
Yeah.
I was very much infuriated.
Yeah.
That it's just like Mallory's trying to do this thing. It's been her dream to have like a tea party and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And just her being like cute. And Kamu just comes in and just destroys it on her.
Yeah.
Like, I get wanting a house meeting and everything. You don't need to take away someone else's moment in order to have yours. You could have easily still had your house meeting.
Right. And I have seen... Oh, go ahead.
And, like, if you... Like, I watched, and, like, she looks devastated. Like, she's so miserable throughout all of this.
Yeah.
And he's just over on his high horse, still ruining her thing.
Yeah, I definitely felt for Mallory in this moment. The other thing to point out is I have seen people say that, like, Devens and D are, like, just as much at fault for, like, egging him on here. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. They knew that in their mind they saw this as, like, he's doing something really bad for his game that kind of helps us. And, like, if we tell him to do it, it's going to put him in a spot where, like, he's going to be in the spotlight and things like that. Unfortunately, it doesn't have that intent. Like, a lot of people, unfortunately, come out of this conversation gassing up Kamu, saying that he...
I was just about to touch base on that. Like, I didn't like how many people from what I was watching, like, be like, oh yeah, Kamu handled that so well. Oh, Kamu this, Kamu that, and just absolutely nothing about Jason.
People in the house?
Yes. Yeah, they didn't show this on the episode, but, like, yeah, Angela went right to Haley and was like, oh, he's so articulate, he's so classy, he handled that so incredibly well. You know, you had, like, I think like Lyric and Melody were, like, talking about, like, everyone was, like, really just, like, hyping him up. You had you had a moment where Devens was talking about the fact that, like, oh, well, I could have said something to Jason, but I don't feel like I'm the right guy to do that, and things like that. Like, it was a very bad look for a good majority of these people, in a way that made me kind of want to stop watching the season, to be honest with you. Very reminiscent of Taylor Hale in the first week of Big Brother 24. Now, of course, the big difference there is that Taylor didn't do anything to get targeted there, while Jason definitely has done stuff. But this is absolutely taking it a step too far that we really just never need to see. It's never a good idea to fully ostracize someone. It's never going to be a good look to make somebody feel as low as you do with Jason here. Again, Jason was already not in a great position. This was just not needed. Like, you could have easily... Jason even says, like, we could just do the veto ceremony now because this was just not needed at all.
And then just the fact of, like, when everything ends, they just leave him there alone.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the part that definitely...
There are people that are there for Jason, just not necessarily, like, right away.
Right. Like, yeah, Mallory does comfort him at one point. Lala's there for him. Taylor, he has some good conversations with Taylor. But it takes a long time for people to actually like go to him. I do feel in hindsight, like a lot of people are feeling like they should have done more in this moment. The thing is, like, if you feel like you should have done more, you just should have done more. Like that's just what I'm going to say with something like that. I get, obviously you want to help your game. You don't want to, speak too much there, but just going to Jason and comforting him, like that's just the one thing you could have done to like make him feel somewhat validated. There are just some things that are bigger than the game, and I think that this was very much one of them. So
I think knowing how much of a dick Kamu is, I kind of understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
This happens on feeds today, or it happened on feeds earlier today. Just the fact of like Kamu gave Lyric permission to vote to save Mallory.
Yep.
Like, okay, thanks.
Yep.
He's so condescending.
He's very much one of those people where it's like, all right, well, I didn't tell you, like, you didn't do specifically what I told you to do, so now I have to be mad at you. Just this one little thing. Like, Kamu could say that, like, Kamu could say, I want you to use the red brush instead of the orange brush. And it's like, why'd you use the orange brush? I told you had to use the red brush. That was the only one that you were supposed to touch. Why did you touch the orange brush? And he freaks out about it because, like, it's not like, that's just the type of person he is. Like, things have to be his way or the highway. And that coupled with all the nasty shit we found out that Kamu has said today, especially, it just really paints him in the worst light possible. And
timeline has stopped talking about that on Twitter.
Right. If I already was not a Kamu fan, I'm very much not, even less of one by the end of this week. So, yeah.
He was on a power trip this week.
Wait, what were you going to say? Oh, what'd you say?
Me? Oh, I said he was on a power trip this week.
Yeah, he really was. Both in and outside the house, based on things we've now discovered. So, yeah.
When people show you who they are, believe it.
Exactly. 100%. That's the thing. Like I have seen debate all week where it's like, well, why are we implying that this is why he was targeting Jason and things like that? Why are we implying that he's this way? It's like, all you need to hear was him say that he was not a fan of any of the winners of the previous seasons. And that tells you exactly the kind of person that he is. Like, full stop. Right there. That's all you need to hear.
Image to uphold.
Exactly.
Miss me with that drag shit. Miss me with the shit about complaining about Drew and Mallory skipping around in Mallory's PJs. Yeah, something to say about that. Which
100%.
I don't like. I'm on the fence of like. I'm not on the fence. I'm against it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I get not wanting to do that yourself, but why complain about other people doing it? Why is that in your concern?
Yeah.
Why draw attention to it?
Exactly.
Drew did call him out, and I saw something like he was talking about like not wanting his girl to be like taller, and
yes,
Drew, like,
yes, that was great.
Want her to be like below you or something. I was like, oh my god.
Yup.
Yeah, that was a great moment. I love that, and I did love Barrett and Drew also wearing the dresses to kind of like stick it.
Yeah.
I thought that was fun.
If you didn't see my comparison yet, I put a picture of those two up that with a side by side of Trey Parker and Matt Stone from the Oscars way back in the early 2000s, where they showed up completely obliterated on acid in dresses, and whenever anyone asked them about it, they would just completely dodge the question.
Amazing. But yeah, what I will say about this is, as bad as this moment is, Jason kind of reclaims the narrative immediately and is like,
"Oh, don't phrase it like that."
The teapot, if you want to, talk about like teapots and things like that, and you just want to constantly like get mad at me for strategizing with other people, I'm just going to do it with everybody. And he goes around and he finds a teapot and he starts banging on it with the spoon. And anytime, and I did watch, and here's the thing, a lot of the time when people say they're going to do this, they don't actually end up doing it. They kind of like talk themselves out of it. And I fully thought that's what was going to happen with Jason. Like, he had the teapot, he had this moment at night, he literally fell asleep with it. They don't show it in the episode, but he literally went to bed with the teapot because he was worried someone was going to take it from him. So he literally like cradled it like as he was sleeping. I thought he was going to wake up and be like, you know what? I don't want to do it. Nope. He goes right into it. Anytime someone is strategizing, even if they're not talking, Angela and Chuk are making eyes at each other. I don't know if they're strategizing, but maybe they are.
Queen Kamu.
Right. He bangs on the tea kettle and is as obnoxious as he could possibly be because he wants to stick it to Kamu. He's like, listen, if you're going to call me out for this, everybody should be called out. He's referring to him as a queen. He's calling him daddy.
Daddy.
He goes all out with this. And I feel like if you're going to go out, like this is exactly the way you should go out, in my opinion. I loved every second of this. I think this was probably the big highlight of the week. The tea party is the moment that Kamu wanted everybody to talk about. This is the moment that people are going to remember, I feel like, from this week. And I really love
even cliffhanger. It was that good.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, I think it's really admirable of Jason, like, as a person. And, of course, as a fan of Big Brother, like, I was beaming when I saw on Twitter that he was carrying a pot and a spoon. I was just... But yeah, like you said, I think he knew that what you just said. Like, he was like, I don't want that to be the focus of the week. I want this to be like, I want the attention here doing what I'm doing.
Banging the pot in Haley's face. Yeah. Oh, it was
it just like brings some levity to like everything that was going on and just showing that he's not backing down. Like, I think it kind of is bigger than the game in a little bit. Like, it says a lot more about. Yeah, I liked it. Big fan.
It was great. It's the moment where Kamu's in like the DR and he's shouting at him and he can literally hear what Jason's saying. So good.
It did me immediately when I saw that. I went and voted for Jason for the time capsule thing. I was like, I want him to stay. I want him to get the power.
Same. This was the first week where like I actually felt like I cared about the time capsule. So I actually did throw a few votes Jason's way this time. And that this was the moment that kind of did it for me. But yeah, great moment from Jason. Like I said, this is what I think people are going to remember, much to Kamu's chagrin. This is the moment that is going to be talked about when people think of the tea party. But yeah, so we do get to the veto ceremony here. Kamu's trying to kind of hash things out with Jason, but Jason's not here to hash things out. Like, they've had their conversation. He's willing to just move forward, be obnoxious, doesn't even want to even acknowledge Kamu the rest of the week. And I don't blame him with how Kamu acted in that situation. You can see the effect it had on Jason. And again, just to see him kind of come out of this victorious, that's what you want to see on Big Brother. You want to see those moments where like someone who is an underdog can kind of like rise up. And while we didn't fully get to see that from Jason, this was a good indicator of like how I think he would have been if he had survived past this week. So a lot of fun. But we do get to the veto. Obviously, Lyric used the veto on herself, and then Kamu renoms Jason. But at this point, it feels like Jason's already renommed. Like, when they did the veto ceremony, I was like, oh yeah, it hasn't happened yet. Like, that's how obvious this renom was. And it was
the fire hasn't happened yet.
Right, like it very much felt like it had already occurred. But we do get to tonight's episode, and there's a few things to talk about here because there's a bit of a potential vote flip in the works, but potentially not the one that they focused on, which I'll talk about this here. So they spend a lot of time in this episode talking about the flip between Jason and Lala, what would have happened if that turns out to be the vote. And they spend a lot of time talking about the fact that like, oh, Jason's a really good shield for us and things like that. And maybe there's potential that he's going to stick around. We might need to pull some people in. Potentially we pull Barrett in. We could pull Drew in. Drew even like starts making a case for Jason and things like that. And Dee and Kamu are like, what the fuck is he doing? The reality of the situation is that this lasted for maybe all of about like a day, and then Barrett leaked the whole thing to Dee, and then it was shut down from there. So I don't know why they spend so much time on this. It's clear that they love Jason, which you can very much understand why. But to me, the more interesting vote that they didn't really show was the Lala and Mallory one. This was a vote that was like so up in the air until the last minutes. There was a whole plan that, you know, as far even Taylor was like willing to potentially vote out Lala here. They don't show it on the episode, but like she came to the other side, literally laid out this whole plan, said like, I'm going to vote with you guys, to the point where they were planning to leave Taylor out of the Jason vote because they thought that she was voting Jason and they didn't want to tell her what was going on until like the last possible second, because they knew she was so like steadfast about it that like she tried to talk them out of it. But then she switched up and instead was just going to keep Lala in the game and vote out Mallory because her and Lala just have a better connection, not really game wise, but just on a more like human level and things like that. So again, like they do spend time on the important vote. It's just not the vote that really mattered here, because the reality is Jason was probably always going to go here.
Mm-hmm. Was it Mallory and Lala or Jason and Lala where Melody, it showed them in the bathroom and Melody was like talking to Taylor about potentially getting Lala out?
Yes.
Who was that up against? I don't remember.
So this conversation happened very late. It was literally yesterday. What they didn't show on the episode is why Melody's mad at Taylor. Melody's not mad at Taylor because it's like, you have an opportunity to come with us. It's the fact that Taylor was the one who initiated this potential flip and then changed her mind. And so Melody was like, what the fuck? Why are you doing this? And that's why she was so annoyed at it, because it's like, we were literally going to do this and now you're like backing out of it. I don't understand. And I think for Taylor, like, I think the way she should have approached this was like, make it seem like she's open. Don't make it seem like that's something you're definitively going to do, because the second you do that, you're now like getting people excited for something that's not actually going to happen. And I think that's where Melody's frustration was here. So I think Taylor has played very well so far. They haven't really shown it on the episode, but like, she is a far more active player strategically. She was like pulling out M&Ms this week and things like that. And like, she has a good like lay of the land. She's just so behind on what's going on.
Reheating Morgan's nachos.
That she is. She's just so behind on like what's actually going on in the house. Like, there's just so much that has happened that she's not a part of, and that's very much what's hurting her. So that's the thing that they didn't really show, is like why Melody was actually upset with that.
Yeah, because from my perspective, it seems like Taylor's not really doing anything. Yeah. So I just must not be caught up enough on like the stuff outside the episodes and like the few things I've seen. But
she's talked a lot.
Because when I saw the episode and it kind of showed Taylor saying like, oh, I just don't know if I could vote Lala out because I have a good relationship. And then Melody was like, if that's the one thing, you're not going to vote her out just because you like her. And like, if you're the one vote that can't make this vote happen. And that's why, like, I understood Melody's
not again.
I understood Melody's frustration, and I was like, really, Taylor? Like, that's what's gonna keep you from the vote? Like, one number, but maybe it wasn't what I thought it was. I don't know.
It was definitely that. I think again, it's also the fact that like she fully said that she was going to vote out Lala, said also that she was willing to vote to keep Jason, and then they had this whole plan to potentially flip the vote, and then Taylor suddenly backed out of it. And I think that's where like the frustration was. So the only other thing to really talk about before we do get to the blockbuster and then the eviction is that we do get this moment with Drew, and we really see how much trouble Drew is kind of in here, where they're kind of talking through the options of what to do with the votes. And like I said, Drew goes to Kamu and Devens and kind of talks about like what to do in this situation, that like it might actually be a good idea to keep Jason around because he's a shield for them, while you can or Mallory around because Mallory's like a good somebody that they know is like coming after them. And then he was also saying that like I think his point about Taylor and her being like a good number for them is good, but the whole like Mallory's coming for you, I think he really kind of messes up here. I think also they don't show this on on the episode, but things have gotten even worse for Drew than they have portrayed in the show, to the point where Devens at the beginning of the week was kind of like, I think we just need to kind of like not really talk as much strategy with Drew, but like keep him in our good graces. Yesterday, Drew pissed off Devens so much to the point where Devens is like, I think we should just get him out next week. I'm kind of done with him. Like, it's not looking great for Drew at all. So I think it's good what they showed here, but it's even worse than what they portrayed.
Yeah, so. I think he's definitely doing a little too much right now. And the spotlight is definitely on him for sure.
Definitely. But yeah, I think we'll get to the blockbuster here. Cause again, I think there was a lot riding on. There was a lot riding on this blockbuster specifically for one person here. There was a
it was a nail biter.
It really was. But no, in all seriousness, this was a very exciting comp, I would say. First of all, I really like the way this was designed. It was like a reverse Jenga where like they essentially had to take like VHS tapes, and the amount that they ended up getting, they had very clear rules here as well, where it's like you can move the tower, but any pieces that fall, you can't use those. After all the pieces fall, basically that locks their score. I feel like this is some of the most like clearly well thought out rules they've had in a comp in a while, and that's why it was actually exciting to watch.
I like that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I like that this comp was more original than the previous season's blockbusters.
They actually did something
of the season prior. Like this was something new.
They did. Yeah, I agree. Like they've been reusing a lot of stuff. I like that they actually came up with something cool here. And also, like I said, I actually could tell what the fuck was going on, which is a huge win, because that often the blockbusters, I'm like, wait, what are we actually doing here? So this one I actually knew. And, we get to the comp, and Lala falls pretty quickly. I think we kind of expected that to happen, unfortunately. But it is extremely close between Mallory and Jason, to the point where it's like 7-7 between them. Suddenly, Mallory has 8. You think Jason's going to get it, and time goes out. Once again, Jason is just a few seconds short. And, Mike, what happens?
Mallory wins the blockbuster.
Yep.
I honestly had to rewind it because I was like,
it
seemed like Jason's hand was off of it by the time I don't know, but
it was a photo finish for sure. I also was like, that's the second time that's happened to him too, because it happened during the Devens veto. And then Mallory wins, which is great for her. Love to see it, but
even better for me, baby.
The immediate look on Jason's face and just seeing how crushed he was just really devastating to see. You could see that he was like really kind of re-energized through this blockbuster. I think he really felt confident that he was going to get it. And then to see Mallory get it, he's happy for her, but you can see how upset he really is in this moment. And I think at this point, we knew it was going to happen. There was really no suspense here. Of course, they tried to drag it out like, oh, maybe the vote's going to go in a different direction, but it was always going to be Jason here. There is a great moment before the eviction, though, where like Kamu tries to hug him. And he's like, Kamu, don't touch me.
Don't touch me, Kamu.
Yeah, that was great. I love seeing that. But yeah, the vote ends up being unanimous because this cast does not want to play self-interestedly to save their lives. That's not something that they are willing to do, and that's why it's getting very boring. But yeah, Jason goes here, and I do want to quickly talk about his exit interview, because I think it's honestly one of the best exit
interviews. Before we get to that, I got something I missed last time, and I get to do it this time.
To be clear, that's to Mallory winning. That's not to Jason going. That's for Mallory winning. We do not want to say let's go to Jason going. But yes, so
no,
for those who are just watching now and think we're hating on Jason, that is to Mallory. That is to Mallory staying, because God forbid
Kamu's not here. We don't do that. We don't do that.
We are not the red corner.
Yeah, far from it. We got a blue chair here. We got a blue chair. No red chairs.
That's it. We're not the red corner. We're the blue chair.
Exactly. That's the the blue chair should say it all.
No, I even, as we get into the eviction, I did say, like, even as a diehard Mallory fan, I couldn't preface enough on Twitter how much better Jason deserved than the experience
Yeah.
that he got.
Yeah. And I feel like that's why for me, like this was one of the best interviews I've ever seen Julie conduct. Like she seems so excited to see Jason. I love seeing her coming out with the teapot. I was like, there's no way. There's no way this is actually
So
happening.
funny.
And, like you see the look on Haley's face. She's like disgusted that this is happening. And I thought
I didn't see Haley.
Oh yeah, Haley was not happy at that. Yeah, so I thought that was really great. And then the questions she gives him, I thought also were really good. A lot of the time, it seems like Julie is trying a little too hard to like make it seem like the eviction was their fault. But I thought Julie was very like even keel here, where it's like there are things that Jason definitely could have done better, but she doesn't try to make it seem like he's like at fault for it. Like it's bad what you did, but we respect you. We love you. She even tells him straight up that like he was like top 3 in the time capsule. I thought this was a really great interview that really gave Jason, I think, the send off that he deserves. This is really kind of what he needed in this moment. And I feel like that's kind of why this ended up going the way it does. It's like, we know that Jason's had a really rough week. This is kind of the thing we need to do to kind of make him feel more loved within this side of things.
I agree.
Yeah. So I really love this a lot. I honestly felt like a completely different Julie than what we typically get in terms of her interviews. And I really loved it. I got to say, I thought it was really, really classy, really good answers. I especially like the way that she phrased, him talking about working with the icons, because I've said before, I think that was his biggest flaw. It's like if he had just gone to them and said, hey, I'm also like a part of this. I want to work with you guys. I feel like I understand like your positioning. I feel like it would have done wonders for his game, because that's really where Jason messed up, is that obviously you're going to want to take that shot, but he took that shot so early on, boxing himself into this group of people that he essentially became like a liability for, because they knew what he was doing. And if you say that you're too loyal to him, you're going to get put on the block with him. But if you also don't work with him, that puts you in a worse position. So he really just kind of fucked things over for himself, like super early on, to where, again, I think if he had tried to build those allies in the beginning, slowly start pitting things against the vets and things like that. Kind of, I've said this before, like kind of seeing like how everyone feels about them. I think that would have been much better for him. But what do you guys want to say about Jason here?
I really want Jason to be put. I want him to come back. I want him on another cast. I want a cast that will actually treat him better than this cast. And I'm disappointed in CBS casting someone like Jason with someone like Kamu, putting Jason in that compromised position where if they had vetted their cast, they would know that Kamu is kind of homophobic.
Mm-hmm. Kind of.
And the way Kamu treated Jason, he wants to claim it's on a game level. All he wants, it's bullshit.
Yeah,
I see through it.
Exactly.
Also, you mentioned that comment that Julie said about him also being an icon, which at first I thought that was nice for her to like kind of acknowledge that, because I felt that way too when I like saw the cast. But then it almost made me a little bit annoyed that she was like, well, why didn't you just go to them? And it's like, well, when she was like, why didn't you go to them because you're an icon too? And it's like, well, according to CBS or whoever, I'm not.
Right.
I wasn't brought back like that. So it made me
kind of felt like
a little uncomfortable for Jason, because it's like, oh, am I an icon? Like, I thought I wasn't good enough to be a reality TV icon, because yes, I was a reality TV star, but I wasn't treated like these other reality TV icons.
I thought it was because RuPaul's Drag Race isn't under the CBS umbrella.
Yeah, that is the rationale that they gave. To which I say, I think what they honestly should have done was just like do like a half and half thing, where like you have like half newbies and then you have like half like reality TV players. It doesn't even need to be just like Big Brother and Survivor. It could be like people that are, just from the reality TV sphere. I think that probably would have gone a lot better for him.
You could also argue that Drew's a reality TV icon.
No, he is, because he was on Beast Games. Yeah, no, you're right.
Kamu's brother. With Kamu's brother.
It also stings a little bit more that, like, not only is it just not like a CBS game or whatever, or a CBS show, but it's Drag Race, which is like, a gay, like, drag queen, like, so it just makes him feel a little bit more on that outside of the group as well, and just makes it sting a little bit more, in my opinion. So again, no shade on Julie, like, I think she was trying to lift him up and be like,
I kind of saw it as like her kind of being like shady towards CBS, like he's an icon, too, been a part of this.
But it made me feel a little bit bad for him in that situation, because I would have been like, well,
no, I get you.
Wasn't an icon. Like,
I will say too, respectfully, what do we expect from a network that shut down Colbert to bend to fascism?
And that last Kamu, like you said.
No, exactly. Yeah, again, I think this is exactly the kind of interview that Jason needed. I did see people
feeds are on pets. Sorry, important. Feeds cut to pets.
Okay, so HOH happening soon. We'll talk about that in a little bit, like what we would like to ideally happen. But I think that this was really, like I said, kind of the send-off that Jason needed after such a rough week and things like that. I saw people also say that, like, he's absolutely going to be getting like a ton of offers after this. Like, I'm sure he's going to be on the Traders. I think he's like made for that kind of show. I would love
and I hope he doesn't represent Big Brother if he gets on there.
Yeah, because I think ultimately, like, this was an experience for him. I don't think he did everything wrong. I think he definitely has, like, the social capital. He just tried to play a little too hard, too fast. And it really
He'll learn a lot from this.
And I think,
he played too hard, too fast, but he still didn't deserve what he got from Kamu.
Oh, no, definitely not. And I think, at the end of the day, I really appreciate just how entertaining he was the whole way through. Like, the entire way through, you can tell how devastated he is, but he always tries to do it with a smile. He always tries to leave with, like, this sense of just, like, excitement. I literally thought he was going to grab the teapot and just, like, bring it onto the stage. Like, I thought for sure that that's what was going to happen. It was going to be, like, Paul and, like, the floaty thing when, like, Big Meech gets voted off in Big Brother 18. I thought that's what was going to happen there with, like, Pablo. I thought that's what he was going to do. But
I don't think you could throw a teapot at the audience and get away with it.
Well, maybe not throw, but, like, I thought overall, again, just a really
spoon. Not the teapot.
Yeah, honestly, just a plastic spoon. This one time I'm using a plastic spoon, and then we'll use a styrofoam teapot. It's a
styrofoam teapot. It's a thing.
It's a backup that we have. I was using the other one too much. There's a big dent in the other one. Got to make sure.
Wait. Speaking of big dents, the teapot in the house had one.
That's what I was referencing. Yeah, there's a huge dent, and the zoom in on that was crazy.
Because you could argue that that's not just any dent. It's a Jason dent.
No, we're not doing this again. Yes, Jazzy, I did say styrofoam. But yeah,
it was funny how Jason was like, "This season is going to be boring now without me." Like,
he's not wrong. That's the thing. Like, I do think that as much as we do love Mallory, and I really do love Mallory, I do think Jason going and Jason ultimately staying was the more exciting outcome here. I think that he just had the story in terms of entertainment. I think he had the story in terms of just getting to see him, like the idea of, like, him winning HOH next round would have been so exciting to see, but also to see, like,
Mallory instead now.
Look, yes, exactly. And, like, I definitely want to see Mallory win HOH. Definitely no shade to Mallory at all. I think Mallory, definitely has a lot of potential. In fact, I think she's probably the person I'd like to see win HOH the most, because she's been so vocally against, like, against the vets and things like that. Has wanted to.
I also would like a Mallory HOH when that means you have to have me back again.
But I do ultimately think that with Jason staying, I think that would have bode a lot better for the season, especially because we knew he was going to get some kind of power. Now, would it probably have been the Never Not Pass? Probably. With how things are going, I wouldn't have been surprised if he conveniently got the Never Not Pass.
Oh, while Jazzy's in the audience, by the way, I just want to make something very clear. This is what Jason gets for shouting out Ryan Murphy. I'm a Glee first. He had to go.
I'm kidding. There's that. I
will preface that was a joke.
Exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of shout outs.
Yes.
Shout out Nick and Zach.
Oh yeah. They did get a shout out. I missed that, but that was pretty cool.
Oh, I caught it.
Yeah. We do love Nick City and Zach Perez. Watch our reality podcast. But yeah, overall, like I said, very good send off for Jason. I think absolutely what he needed in that moment. And yeah, that's kind of everything that happened this week, aside from like a couple things. What did I miss, Mike? What were you gonna say?
I do want to address one more thing before we start to wrap things up. I assume. I want to give Angela her flowers in her goodbye message to Jason.
Mm-hmm.
She basically was like, yeah, game recognizes game. We fought, this and this happened, but I will always be team messy bitch. And I'm like, yes.
It was a good moment.
It was never personal about it with like Jason and Angela, and I love that Angela circled back around and gave Jason the respect I feel Jason deserved.
Yeah, it was a good moment. It does not it does not negate the fact that she also pulled a Nicole Franzel and tried to fake cry about voting out Jason, which I did not love seeing. But I will agree that was a nice moment from her. I like when people can be like, the game's the game. I actually have a lot of love for you. Let's try to.
No, and she made that clear in in diary room sessions of like, oh, this is like, yeah, Jason's against me, but like, I love this. This is messy, team messy.
Yeah, that was a good moment. Yeah. But yeah, before we do wrap things up, I do want to quickly talk about potential for this next week. Because again, things are looking bleak. Things are really looking bleak at this point. But I want to talk about the most ideal outcome for HOH, what we would like to happen here. And for me, like I said, it is actually ironically Mallory winning. I do think that Mallory winning would be the most exciting. She now has full, all the reasons to put up that side. They know she's coming for them. There's really nothing they can do about it aside from Devens' Diamond Power Veto. It would also force Devens to play his Diamond Power Veto very early, which would be even better because then that's gone, aside from whatever the fuck Dee's going to get, because she's going to get the power now that Jason's gone, which is also why it sucks that Jason won.
I do want to say with the announcement that Jason was in top 3 every time, that means one of the vets got beat out, and it's by default D.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, exactly.
D is beatable in that popularity contest.
Yeah.
Probably because she was first HOH, maybe. So I don't know. Whatever.
Or maybe because the fandom is
she's got the built-in audience. Yeah.
Honestly, I would love to see Melody win HOH.
Yeah.
I think I would add an extra layer to not only that side of the house winning, but her relationship with Drew. And it would really make things interesting in the tool shed side of things because are they gonna go tell Melody your best buddy Drew? He's actually in this alliance called the Tool Shed, and Kamu could try and be like, I have a 5-2 with him called the Handyman. You can't trust Drew. That is 100% what would happen, and I would die to see that. So honestly, I would love to see Melody win.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. I especially would love to see is Melody actually willing to be her own player? Because the thing that's frustrating me about Melody this week is that I really do think she should have pressed Drew more about voting to keep Mallory, and I feel like she kind of just stopped doing it, and I was a little bit frustrated by that. So I really do kind of want to see her win HOH because you can see how badly she wants to play the game, how badly she would love to be in power. So I do agree with you. I think it would be very interesting to see how she would navigate something like that. So I think Melody would be great. I think Mallory would be great. Lyric, as we said, I don't think she should win HOH, so I don't know what the fuck she does there. Really just those two, honestly, I think would be the ones I'd want to see. A Taylor HOH would maybe be fun.
I was going to say Taylor might be my honorable mention just because, I feel like the episodes haven't shown a lot from her so
right,
far.
that's their chance, yeah.
And it seems like you said, there maybe is more behind the scenes of like
I would say
how
so.
she is playing the game, and
yeah,
so I'm just curious where she stands and who she would go after.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential with Taylor. I think she just really needs to like just lock in. Like that's really her problem. She hasn't fully locked into either side, and I think once she has, like, it's kind of it's really going to like benefit her at that point. It's kind of similar to a much better player than this person, much better player. But it's like Mackenzie in Big Brother 26, where like she's kind of floating around. She doesn't really have like her side yet, and then finally someone scoops her up, and it finally puts her in a much more dominant position. I feel like that's going to be Taylor, where like once a side takes a hold of her, she's going to be able to have a lot more agency and really show her potential as a player. She just hasn't been able to do that, and I do think an HOH would potentially do that for her. And Mike, we know what your ideal HOH would be, but if it wasn't Mallory, who would you want to win?
There is no other option.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Honestly, maybe it's because my memory is bad, but I would say maybe Taylor's game kind of reminds me of Ashley from last season, because like honestly, in the beginning, no one was looking at Ashley, and she seemed like a floater, and like she was kind of, you know, fluid with the house, but then like leaning towards that one side, and then like towards the middle, and then eventually the end of the game, like she was very much with that one group. So maybe Taylor could have the same arc.
I think Taylor, and I'd also say Lyric is kind of similar to an
so
like people think like the reason people aren't threatened by Lyric, which they are starting to catch on to it, but the main reason it's not even that Lyric's playing a good game, it's that Lyric's not capable of playing that way. Lyric's not.
She's so underestimated.
Right, exactly. So, oh God, don't say it like that. But yeah, overall, like I said, this week is really the make it or break it week for me. And I know you're like, oh, it's week 4. Why are you stressing out? Let's talk about Big Brother 22 real quick and where we were at this point. Because if we look at Big Brother 22, right? The first week, Cody won HOH. The second week, Memphis won HOH. The third week, Tyler won HOH. And then the fourth week, Enzo won HOH, who are all, of course, in the same alliance. And what's been happening so far is we've had 3 HOHs from the same consecutive alliance. And
there's only one comp when I care about that season. It's when Devon won Veto.
Yeah, no, that's the only season I've actively stopped watching. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because there's a lot of parallels here, unfortunately, where it's like this one side just keeps winning and the other side isn't doing anything and they're actively hurting themselves. So really this week is the make it or break it. And unfortunately, also very similar to Big Brother 22, we had a lot of close calls where like this person almost won, but then it was somebody on the other side. Like I remember when Janelle almost went, like the week Janelle went, she almost won that HOH. When there was the week that like Christmas won, Devon almost won that HOH. So, and we just saw that with Mallory and Lyric were like they almost won this last HOH, but then of course it didn't end up going in that direction. So yeah, I don't know. Really, this is just the make it or break it week for me. I'm hoping that somebody from that other side can win it. If not, I think we're just looking at a steamroll. I really think that's what's going to happen. I think if we can't get an HOH, it just generally might not happen, especially with Devens' power of veto, Diamond Power Veto, which only becomes more powerful the more he has it. Whatever D's power is going to be. The fact that especially if we get another HOH, that side is not going to be nearly as powerful, because if you get a Mallory out or a Melody out, especially, that side really starts to crumble. You literally just have Yash and whatever half of Melody or Lyric. And then
that is my ultimate concern if like that side gets power again, because it's like Rome is the big target, Rome's gone, Jason was the next big target, Jason's gone. Next it's Mallory.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was also almost Mallory first.
Yeah. Big Brother 25, I could see the parallels, but I would also contend Big Brother 25 had a much stronger start than this season. I feel like the first half of that season, I was really into it, and then it just kind of cratered. This is like if Zombie Week was how Big Brother 25 started. That's how I would categorize Big Brother 28. So
I don't know if I would say like the whole season is ruined if someone from the other side doesn't win this week. It definitely would be depressing. But I think with people like Drew and Barrett, it maybe gives it a little more like interest. If someone from the Toolshed does win, do they turn on Drew and Barrett? That would be like one of the big factors of if this season stays interesting.
I don't know. I would love to put faith into Drew and Barrett, but Barrett said a comment today where he basically mentioned the fact that like, oh well, we got to be loyal to the HOH and things like that. And it's you really don't have to do that. And like he was also very adamant about needing to like not show his cards, even though he knows he's on the bottom of like Toolshed and things like that. So I don't know. I am becoming less confidence in Barrett as a player, but here's to hoping that he wins and that'll turn things around. So,
I didn't mean like either of them winning HOH would be exciting.
Like, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. What did you say?
I said Barrett shouted out people in our community tonight, so that's really cool.
He did.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. But I didn't mean like Barrett and Drew winning HOH. I just meant like if someone from the Toolshed does happen to win HOH again, what would make it interesting is if they end up turning on Drew and Barrett versus like, oh, they're just gonna put up Mallory. It's like that's the one thing that I'm like, maybe it could keep things interesting. Obviously wouldn't love for that to happen, but it would be a little more interesting than just putting up Mallory and Melody and Lala again.
Yeah, which is likely what's gonna happen. But again, here's to hoping that things can turn around. But yeah, I think that's really all we have to say. Like I said, I don't want to be completely doom and gloom when it comes to this season. I'm just becoming a lot less convinced that this isn't just going to be a steamroll, and that if they do take a shot, it's not a Drew, and that doesn't really change things because they can just blame Drew for everything and then they can remain in power. Like that's legitimately what I think would happen. Like they put up Drew, you expose him for everything, and then you're still fine. Like, because that's usually how it's gone in other seasons, but we'll have to see. But anyways, as we do close things out here, Joanne, if you have anything specifically that you want to plug or anything you want to end on, go right ahead.
Not really. Thanks so much for having me. This was really fun. I enjoyed talking with you, and you guys should check out Radical Survivor. There's a mini happening. I hear there's going to be some cool people in it. And follow me on Instagram, Joanne Donovan Entertainment.
Yes, definitely. We do have a mini coming up, Radical Survivor. It's going to be a great time. It's American Idiot themed. Starts tomorrow. You should definitely check it out. It's going to be a great time. Speaking of Radical Survivor, someone who might be on the prod team begrudgingly is there. Do you have anything you would like to say?
Two-time runner-up, prod member here. Partially, in due credit, founder of the theme, but shout out to Ashley who orchestrated the whole thing. This is Ashley's season more than it is mine.
We do love Ashley King.
Yes. But American Idiot is also one of my favorite musicals myself. But Wonderpuff MV on Twitter. I believe my Instagram is like anyway here's Wonderpuff. I forgot what I think my TikTok is just Wonderpuff. I don't post on there, but I lurk. It's where I go for doom scrolling. So there's that. And go for Mallory for the care package.
Care package is crazy.
Go for Mallory for the time capsule, y'all.
Care package is what they should have done. That actually came at a decent
not here
time.
Anymore. Let's pull it from Mallory.
Yes. Vote for Mallory. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it for this discussion of Big Brother 28. Of course, let us know what you guys are thinking of this season overall. And if you do like this video, I have a ton of other reviews of other Big Brother and Survivor seasons, as well as other reviews of other shows and films and any sort of controversy. So if you're interested in any of that, definitely consider checking my channel as well as subscribing. Love to be a part of all of that. Other than that, guys, for this video, hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you guys later. Okay, bye.
Oh, shit. Where is it?